very seriously. The speakers we have heard from tonight have painted a very grievous picture of the publicly funded healthcare system that we all cherish. But I do not want you to be hopeless. I do not want you to think that everything is on the verge of collapse. I have been asked by MPP Gates to give certain testimony on my side of the gurney, and I will do that. But I want to give a preamble that the nurses that you have heard from and the doctors that you have given the privilege of attending to you are well-trained, compassionate people who, above all, I really truly feel embody a notion that I first heard when working with Doctors Without Borders in a war-torn country in Central Africa, and that is the notion of Zokwezo, which is that each human is a person. And I testify to you that I don't work with doctors, I work with nurses. As a physician, the time I spend is mostly with nurses, with them conveying information to me, with me expressing concerns to them, with us sharing a plan for the patient. And I swear with every fiber in my body that the nurses that are quietly giving anonymous care to that senior citizen in hallway bed 4 and comforting that mother stuck in some small room with a sick child, I promise you with every fiber in my body that they truly care for your loved ones. And the physicians that you have given the privilege of caring for you are well-trained, are knowledgeable of the science and the art of healing. You know, I'll tell you a couple of quick stories to inspire you about what happens in Ontario every single day. A young man dove for a soccer ball. He came to the emergency room, and I attended this patient along with my colleagues. He was having a lot of abdominal pain. The junior doctor quickly put the ultrasound on this guy's abdomen, and it was full of blood. The surgeons were all upstairs operating around the clock. These surgeons literally work 2 or 3 days straight. I could never be a surgeon. What we did was we called every single surgeon on the hospital staff, about 14 surgeons. They were all operating, or they had just finished operating, and they could not attend to this man who was literally dying in the emergency room. We finally got one surgeon driving his car around downtown, and he pulled up to the front door of the ER. He took the patient to the operating room. He opened his belly from navel all the way up to his chest. We replaced his entire blood circulation in 24 hours, and he lived. And that is what happens every day in Ontario. Another case to inspire you to not lose hope. A young man came with chest pain. Like many Ontarians, he was stuck on a paramedic stretcher in a hallway going from the ER all the way to the goddamn cafeteria. 26-year-old men don't get heart attacks. We all know that, right? Well, he was. He looked like shit. His vital signs were terrible. I took the ultrasound to the hallway outside the cafeteria and looked at his heart, and I was concerned. And you know what the paramedics and I did? We said, screw all the rules. Because the rules of hospitals are that if you are on a paramedic stretcher, the hospital will not take care of you. Because if they do, the paramedics no longer will take responsibility for the patient. So once the hospital touches the EMS patient, EMS walks away. Not these paramedics, because they're made of the same fiber of the nurses that I described earlier. So we rushed this young man to CT, and you know what? I was wrong. His CT was okay, but he still looked like shit. And so what we did was we rolled him immediately to the first monitor stretcher. And you know what he did right there? He's got not a single medical problem in his life. He had a cardiac arrest. And the paramedics and I and the nurses were right there. And we did what we're trained to do. We did CPR. We administered drugs. We looked at the electrical rhythm that he had, and we shocked him. And you know what happened? He woke up and he asked where his girlfriend was. He went to the cath lab, and he had 100% LAD lesion. That's called the widowmaker. The vessel that comes off your aorta that supplies your heart, if that's 100% blocked, you just created a widow out there somewhere. He had a complete block. He's 26. And the reason it was is because he's got familial hypercholesterolemia, which he didn't know. But I want to tell you these stories so that you don't lose hope, so that you know the public system out there is full of people who are good paramedics. They're good people. You know, when I was driving here, I was listening to hand injuries in my car because, like, the quest for knowledge and the science and the art of healing is ongoing. But MPP Gates didn't ask me to come and speak to you just to that. I also want to tell you my side of the journey of people I see. This week I saw an 84-year-old woman. She's got cognitive decline. She was brought in is because she's got blood in her stool. And she's confused and she's scared. And she's not in her nursing home. And I started my shift and I saw her and I called her son and I ordered her blood work and I ordered her CAT scan and I did all my charting. And you know what the hospital offered her after 8 hours? All we offered her was a goddamn orange blanket for the paramedics. 8 hours after she came to the emergency room, she was left not moving one damn centimeter because the hospital has no beds. Because the upstairs is full, the ER is full of admitted patients, and my patient who's 84 is 8 hours or more because I hand her over to the next doctor saying, you know what, I did everything I could, but she's stuck because there's no bed to move her off of. But her bedmate next door to her was a little bit different. She's also in her 80s. These are people who paid their taxes. They raised their children. They were the foundations of society. These poor people who died in our nursing homes, they are the center of families.